New on Curiosity Stream. How do you connect a 16th century potato to limitless energy production? Could Napoleon's toothpick have a direct link to a machine that predicts the future? And how can a 1700s conch shell chart a course to humans connecting their brains to the internet? James Burke's visionary series Connections returns for a new generation. Experience all new Connections. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
In times of old, in times of new, there's a God to follow to make it true. It's the pop culture field, and you will.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas to all you out there at Pop Culture Field Manual Headquarters. It's our Christmas episode, everybody. It's good to be back with you folks. It's been an amazing year, and we are very excited for this Christmas episode. A couple of things to talk about. Speaking of giving the gift, if you want to give us the gift of your support, you can always go to buymeacoffee.com. Check out the Pop Culture Film Manual podcast page there. If you want to join us in the very fun and happy and exclusive crew of the patrons from our Patreon, you can go to the Patreon page, PCFM podcast. We got wonderful merchandise. You can click on links through our Instagram, PCFM podcast. And you can always send us an email, pcfmpodcast@gmail.com. Folks, it's the time of giving. It's the season's greetings, and we are very happy to be with you. Cameron, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm extremely excited because A, it is that time of year, folks, and B, this is a little bit different.
Yeah,
it's going to be more of a giving knife stabs to the gut, or maybe giving you a taste of a bat to the face, if you will. Yes, folks, not your typical Christmas episode here. This episode is dedicated to Santa's sleighs. Yes, the best kills in pop culture, or season's killings, or you come up with it because I'm not that smart. But absolutely, man, we are very excited here. It's Christmas time, and no better time to reminisce on some of the most iconic moments from cinema history and video games, honestly, if you will, of deaths and killing. So I'm excited to talk about this because there's some really good ones in here that I think, should be talked about. And I'm surprised. Some new things, some old things, but all good things and wrapped up with a bow. So easy. If you are ready to get into this one, man, we got a lot to talk about.
Absolutely, man. There's a lot of good death, and we're so happy to be talking about death at Christmas time because, it's the reason for the season. Maybe not, but I couldn't do a list of amazing deaths during Christmas time without talking about Die Hard, the greatest Christmas movie of all time, and the most amazing death, which would be when John McClane drops Hans like the end of the year countdown ball out of the Nakatomi Towers building. It's amazing.
It is amazing. Perfect holiday movie, as you stated, because Die Hard, we all know, is a holiday movie and a Christmas movie. And if you don't think so, turn this podcast off right now. You do not deserve to be listening to it. But yeah, man, tell us a little bit about that scene for people that might have never
Well,
seen
first of all, if you've never seen Die Hard, stop the podcast, put it on pause, go watch Die Hard and come back. Okay. Now that you've watched it and you understand what an amazing movie is. No, it's a John McClane as a cop flying in from New York to visit his estranged wife and kids. She's an executive at Nakatomi Towers, a big banking firm. They do financial stuff. But He's going to a Christmas party at Nakatomi Towers in Los Angeles, and lo and behold, some terrorists led by Alan Rickman, who gives he's so good at playing a bad guy. They come
He's
in,
so good at playing a bad guy.
and they come in and they come in and they take over, and they want money. They want all the money in the vault. So there's a big vault upstairs, and they're trying to break into it. All the while, John McClane is the fly in their ointment. He's causing problems for it, and one by one, he starts taking out the terrorists. And then the police get involved, and he's got a buddy down there, Sergeant Alpal, who helps him out. But then the FBI show up, and they cause a bunch of ruckus. And it's just a great, great action movie, actually based on a novel, which is so funny. That it's this.
Which novel?
It's a novel. I forget what it's called, but it's
just a novel.
It's a novel where it's the same premise, but I'm sure I can't see how it could be better than this. Maybe this is the one example where the movie's better than the book. But you get to the end of the movie. Spoilers, everybody. It's been out for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
But John McClane, it's even a great kill before that, because he has almost like he goes barefoot almost the entire movie, and so his feet are all cut up. He's been beat up. He's just a regular cop dude. There's one terrorist left with Hans Gruber, who's the bad guy, Alan Rickman. They've got his wife, and he comes with his hands behind his back. He walks up, Hans, and they've got him dead to rights, but behind his back, he has taped with packaging tape, Christmas packaging tape, his gun with just 2 bullets in it. It's an MP5. And he takes it out, and he shoots one guy in the head and shoots Hans in the shoulder, but Hans falls out the window but grabs his wife. So he's hanging over the ledge grabbing onto John McClane's wife. And, John grabs her, and they're trying to get Hans to let go. And Hans Gruber, it's like in slow motion, like he grabs his gun and he's coming up to aiming at them. And she's got this amazing Rolex watch that they reference earlier in the movie. And he's holding on to the watch, Hans is, and they unlock the Rolex, and Hans Gruber falls, slow motion, he falls to his death. And there's a great bit of movie history where they're like, because the shot of Hans Gruber is on, it's like a downward looking shot with the whole fire and, police department below, 60 stories below. Mm-hmm. And the look on his face when he drops is like this look of just terror, because he's being dropped out of a building. But apparently when they were filming that, the director wanted a real reaction out of him. And so he said, okay, Alan, I'm going to drop you on 3. And they dropped him on 1. They went 1 and they dropped him. And so that look on Alan Rickman's face in slow motion is him really being like, you son of a...
Oh, that's amazing, dude.
So it was,
such an iconic scene. And I actually looked it up. That novel it's based on is called Nothing Lasts Forever. Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe.
So, good job, Roderick Thorpe.
Apparently it was based on that. So cool. Very awesome. And actually it's funny because I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan. And in the recent season, they did an entire episode where Rick and Morty are like plugged into this video game. But like there's these alien terrorists like attack the arcade and like take it over, and Summer has to do a quote unquote die hard to like save them. So the entire thing, Rick's just like, she's like, what do I do? And Rick's like, just do a die hard. And she's like, what the heck is that? He's like, you've never seen Die Hard? Just do a die hard. Look it up. And she's like, the entire movie, she's just running around saying, I'm doing a die hard. I'm doing a die hard. And it's ironic that the alien terrorists that are like taking over this arcade are obsessed with Die Hard. So
I gotta see that. That actually sounds kind of fun.
Should. It's a really funny one. It's really funny. It's one of those Rick and Morty ones where you actually have to think about it, because that's like the side story, but the actual story is Rick and Morty's existence is spread to every single character into this video game about life. Like, did you ever see that old Rick and Morty one where they go to Blitz and Chips and they play that guy's life? It's like the game. What's his name?
I fell off about the 3rd season, man. So I'm about 2 seasons behind.
Yeah. Where basically there's this one arcade game that they play at this arcade that lets them live this dude's life, this entirety of his life, and they make all his choices for him and whatnot. But they play this game and it like crashes. So Morty's conscience is given to every single person basically in the world in that game. So Rick has to try to convince the entire world population that he is his grandson, and they have to. It's amazing because
cool.
And then there's wars that happen because they're like, you're Morty, and they're like, we're not Morty. They're like, we're all Morty, and they're like, but they're all individual people. But he's just like trying to convince every single person that they are actually his grandson, and it's a wild concept. It's a good concept though. Like a lot of thought goes into it. All while Summer is doing a Die Hard. But yeah, no, Die Hard is an amazing Christmas movie. That scene where he's he's getting dropped off the ledge is just iconic. A perfect way to start off our list here. And if you don't mind, I would like to get into mine because I think these are all very good.
Do it, man. What's your first one?
My first one here is I figured that the best way to celebrate Christmas would be a Halloween movie because have you ever seen this? I think it's going to become a cult classic. It's a sequel just came out that I haven't seen yet, but this one's called Terrifier. It was on Netflix for a little bit. It came out in 2016. But it is like a super low budget Halloween horror movie.
Okay.
Like, it's a slasher film essentially about this clown that like comes back from, I don't know if he's like a demon clown or something, but he just kills everybody, and he like kills everyone in like the most low budget, like craziest, most sadistic like horror way that they can. And there's this one kill that's in that movie that like, honestly, I've never seen anything like it. It's freaking ridiculous. But he's like, this clown's got this like chick that he kidnapped upside down, like tied up, like hanging upside down naked, and he like chainsaws her in half.
Oh my gosh.
From her like vag to the top of her head, like just gets cut in half. It shows it all. And I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, talk about a brutal, like just like something you've never seen before. Are you watching it right now?
No, I'm just imagining it.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's crazy, but it's like super low budget that it's almost a comedy, you know?
Yeah.
It's like that. It is that cult classic Halloween movie slasher where all the blood looks fake, and you can tell when it's like a fake arm being cut off and everything. Just super cheesy, but I think done in a really good way. Because I remember after watching this movie, and it's not available on Netflix anymore. You have to like find it on a free stream on like Vudu or something, because they probably took it down for how gnarly it is.
Golly.
Yeah, it's a crazy movie. So I figured, nothing like Christmas time than Terrifier. And I still need to watch the second one because I'm sure there's some absolutely nutso butso type of slashings in that movie.
I've seen, it's funny. I'm looking at this guy. I've seen him. I've seen the clown somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I told you, I think he's going to become a cult classic. Like, just the movie it's funny. It's almost like a slasher comedy. So I'm going to watch the second one here.
Adding it to your list.
My fiance's not here because she probably won't like it.
No, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, the clown is terrifying. He's just covered in blood, and like no one thinks he's this crazy killer thing, and then until he like murders them. So, Terrifier, thought it's worth the mention. You can go next.
Great Christmas. Great way to get us into the Christmas mood, Cameron. But my next kill is from Game of Thrones. It's Ramsay Bolton, the bastard Bolton. This guy is, in Game of Thrones, there's some characters that it guts you when they're killed, and other characters you're just waiting for the day when they die, and you're hoping.
Absolutely.
And this guy, he lasts a long time. I think he shows up about the second or third season.
Too long.
Yeah. And then after the Battle of the Bastards, I think it's like season 5. He's finally defeated, and it's satisfying because he does so many horrible things. He rapes Sansa Stark. He castrates. He castrates. What's his name?
Worm.
No, not that he is castrated, but what's his name? Oh, geez, I forget it. It's been so long since I watched. But he castrates a character. He tortures him and castrates him. And he's just the worst.
Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah, Theon Greyjoy. There you go, Theon Greyjoy. And guy, even there's even a part where Stannis Baratheon goes for it. He tries to attack him, but then he ends up getting taken out by Ramsay, and Ramsay takes over Winterfell, and he totally just like uses it and decimates it. Yeah, he even kills. I think he ends up killing his own father. The other bolt.
Yeah, he's just a real brutal character.
Yeah, he's a brutal character, and so when he finally is captured, Sansa comes in and she has this kind of, he's kind of arrogant. He thinks, oh, the things I've done to you, you're going to remember them for the rest of your life. And she's like, well, nobody's going to remember you. No, when today is done, nobody's going to remember your name. And like he's like covered in blood or whatever, but she lets his dogs in, and he loves these hunting dogs, and he lets his hunting dogs like eat. There's a scene where he lets this girl loose just to go chase her down and sadistically let her dogs tear her apart. And so his dogs come in and they eat him alive. Like they start looking at him, and he's like, he's trying to get him to go away and to obey him, but he's like, they haven't eaten, and so they have no loyalty to him. And as she walks away, she gets a smile on her face, and you can hear him being torn apart by his own dogs. It's so satisfying. You feel like
it is very
in any other context you'd feel so dirty, but you're like, no, I love hearing the sound of his own death.
Yeah, the sounds of his screams really get me going. Yeah, dude, it's like you're absolutely right. This character, has done so many atrocities that he should have been killed off way sooner. It's almost like Joffrey, like Prince Joffrey, where finally after he just gets poisoned, you're like, yeah, as he's choking on his own like vomit and blood, you're like, yes, finally.
But even Joffrey didn't last as long as Ramsay did. You meet Ramsay I think second season is when you finally meet him, and you think that he's one character, but he ends up being another. Like when Theon gets captured, Ramsay comes in to Scott, pretending to be somebody else, and he breaks him out just to give him the hope that he's going to escape, and then he betrays him because he's Ramsay Bolton.
He's just literally a sadistic prick. Yeah, that's literally what he is. He's just an asshole. But yeah, man, that kill, the dogs going in on him, just is what's the word I'm thinking of right now? Big words, Cameron. Use simple words. Stay simple. Keep it simple, stupid KSS. But yeah, no, it's satisfying. Like you said, no greater word to describe
cathartic.
It than satisfying. Almost, just because, he uses these dogs for terrible. He's done so many terrible things. And finally, Sansa gets her revenge and she, avenges everything that's ever happened using something that he loves so much. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, oh, man, hell yeah. That makes it even better just because it's his own dogs. Like, it could have been, he could have got stabbed or beheaded by Sansa. It would have been great, but it wouldn't be as great as, taking away the things he also loves while taking away his love. So awesome way. I think they did a great job of taking him out. Couldn't have done any better.
What do you got, man? What's next? What brings you Christmas joy?
Ooh. Christmas joy. Nothing brings me Christmas joy like watching Hitler get murdered brutally in his theater section. There's some iconic characters in history that we wouldn't mind loving the chance to beat to a bloody pulp. Hitler is one of them.
Yep.
So Inglourious Basterds, 2009. We all love this movie, and we all know, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, that I love this movie. And there is, the end of the movie after you have some of the bastards infiltrate a theater premiere for a piece of German propaganda war film that is being shown in a Jewish girls' theater that event in the beginning of the movie ran away and was a survivor of an SS kind of knock and check. And her family's killed during it, and she gets away, but the what's his name? You know who I'm talking about. The actor that plays
Daniel Bruhl?
Christoph Waltz.
Oh, Christoph Waltz. No, he's the other. Yeah.
Yeah, Christoph Waltz plays the general, the SS guy, and he lets her go, and she turns out to own this theater where they convince Hitler to, show up for this premiere because it's a very famous German Nazi actor that meets this girl, the owner of the theater, at a in the city that they're occupying. And, she actually has a lover that happens to be African American, which, at the time aren't that much accepted. So they just plan to, have this theater and to burn down the entire theater when all these high-ranking Nazi officials are there. Yep. Well, while this is happening, the bastards, the team of Jews, American warfighter Jews, happen to hear about it, infiltrate it, and you got like 3 of them. You got, Brad Pitt's character, Lieutenant Aldo Rain, and then 2, an Italian guy, and then the bear Jew, and then the other dude, I forgot his name. But they managed to sneak in and, basically, while all the chaos is ensuing and the theater is blowing up, they managed to get to Hitler and just basically fill 3 full mags of MP44 just in his face while taking out everybody below. It's just, it's one of those things. When you see him, like, standing over Hitler, just letting him have it in his face and, like, continuing. They shoot his face until, like, it is nothing. It's just a piece of mulch, essentially. And just that scene was just so good, man. We always thought, like, because, the way Hitler went, like, nobody knows. We couldn't identify a body, we couldn't find that.
Right.
Everyone, there's that curiosity that's like, what if we actually got the chance to do it? Because, like, with Osama bin Laden, we got to see the body, we got to physically shoot him, we got to watch him, but we didn't get to do that for Hitler, so there wasn't that satisfaction of truly ending his reign. Yeah. This movie really does it. It does it for me, so... Yeah, dude, that's my pick for a great kill.
And it comes out of nowhere, or it comes that that Hitler, that's not how Hitler died, or, Oh, yeah. But it's like, oh, wait, it's like kind of wish fulfillment. Like, we actually get to kill Hitler in this movie.
Yeah, it's great. It's such a, it's such a sweet surprise. Champagne. And he's got the little pistol in his knuckle gun. And he, like, puts the little glass over it and offers the guard some champagne, and he like punches him in the face and the bullet goes off. Just super creative ending there, alternate ending. So it's not like they're not trying to relive a piece of history, but they're kind of writing their own history. So I like Inglourious Bastards is classic. I've mentioned it so many times, so I'll end it here. Just because we have a lot of good stuff we want to cover.
Good death.
Yeah, I just had to throw that in there.
Good death, Cameron. Good death.
Good death. Great death.
The next one for me, we're going back to one I've mentioned before, Lady Hawk. It's in our medieval episode. But the Bishop of Aquilar, who is the antagonist of the movie, the one who has cursed the lovers, to be forever apart, in opposites, like he's a guy and she's a hawk during the day, and he's a wolf and she's a woman during the night, so they can never be together. But at the end, there's this epic battle where he's supposed to, Etienne Navarre, who's the hero, Rutger Hauer, comes in, and he has to break the curse. The bishop has to see them together, and it's during an eclipse. So it's both night and day and night. So they're both human, and he has to set eyes on them together for the curse to be broken. And so there's a big epic battle, and the evil captain of the guard tries to stop Navarre, and he defeats him. And so Michelle Pfeiffer shows up, and they're in there together. And there's this beautiful moment where, he makes the bishop look at both of the lovers together, and then the curse is broken. And he kind of he intends to leave him there. Like, the bishop is just kind of sitting there on the altar, or next to the altar, kind of in defeat. And they start to walk away. And then the bishop has his like little cross like staff, and on the bottom there's a detachment where there's a knife underneath. And so he detaches, he goes and he rushes Navarre, and Navarre turns around and throws his giant claymore sword at the bishop, and it hits the bishop and pins him to the altar. It goes like through him and through the altar, and he like gets pinned there and he dies. And it's this epic moment where you get his defeat and you get his death. So it's like doubly satisfying. But so great. A lot of the deaths on my list are like they're at the end of something like this kind of sad, this culminating kind of act where it's just like so, it's like the Ramsey Bolton. It's like you're like yes, finally they got the bad guy.
Finally.
Yeah. In fact, I think
new on Curiosity Stream. How do you connect a 16th century potato to limitless energy production? Could Napoleon's toothpick have a direct link to a machine that predicts the future? And how can a 1700s conch shell chart a course to humans connecting their brains to the internet? James Burke's visionary series Connections returns for a new generation. Experience all new Connections. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
I think, let's see, I think all of my kills are the bad guys of the movies. Yeah. Not to spoil anything, but I think that's so funny because I was trying to look for something. I'm a pretty emotional movie watcher. I want something that's going to impact me on an emotional level. And so all these deaths did that for me. Yeah.
Oh, man. Except for that one, which I'll let you talk about. I'm not going to say it. I'll let you get to it, because that one's not necessarily a good person doing it to a bad guy. It's actually the opposite. A bad person doing it to a very poor bastard who just can't get out. Well, let's see. How much time do we have?
We got time,
I
my
have two
brother.
on my list.
Okay. No. If I could do one more, what, you want to do one more each?
Yeah, do it. You do one more, because I'll make them honorable mentions, honestly.
Okay, cool.
So, because I know you got way better ones than
I do. Come on. No, yours are great. I feel like the theme with yours, Cameron, is yours are the shocking ones. Like a shocking. Yeah. And then mine, the theme is like, it's like the ultimate killing of basically the antagonist of the movie, or like the satisfying death. Yeah.
Yeah, mine are just, it doesn't matter whether it's a background actor kill or like the main character.
But the honorable mentions for me are Annie Wilkes, which is in Misery, the woman who's kept the dude. If you guys haven't seen Misery, you got to see Misery. The dude, author's kept as a prisoner basically by this woman. And she just tortures him. She breaks his legs. And then when he finally gets her in the end and escapes, it's so good. Oh, man. 7.
I guess that's what I was mentioning earlier about all of these are like, I thought you were specifically mentioning the scene when she breaks his leg.
Dude.
Because that is not like a simple scene.
No.
That is like one of the worst scenes that I have ever seen in a movie.
Yep. Yeah. Kathy Bates. There you go. Kathy Bates.
Yeah, it is rude. It is graphic. It makes you turn a cheek. You're like, ooh, it is not good.
Yep. So that one, John Doe, he who should not be named's character from 7, the killers, when you just know that he's going to die as soon as you find out that, Brad Pitt's wife's head is in a box, and he's just like, he has to go. And then Micah from Red Dead Redemption 2, one of the ultimate baddies. You don't get him until the very end. It's like the last thing you get to do is shooting him, and it's so satisfying because you just know from the very beginning of the game, even when he's on your team, that you want to kill him. But my final one that tops the list is the Six-Fingered Man, Christopher Guest's character from The Princess Bride. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. It's so good. Because at first, it's good because when he talks about it the entire movie, this is what his goal in life was. Like, it's the whole thing that's been driving him. And when he finally sees him and he says the line, and then the dude runs away, and then he runs into the room, and Inigo Montoya comes in and he throws a knife at him and sticks him in the gut. And he's like, "Did you come all this way only to fail that right now?" I think that's the saddest thing I've ever heard. How marvelous. And he's like, you think, oh my God, he didn't do it. And he pulls the knife out, and like he gets up, and the dude stabs him a couple times. And then he gains his strength again somehow, even stabbed 3 times.
He's like,
stop saying that. And stop saying that. And he's like, and then he even says, he's like, promise me money. And he's like, yes, whatever you want. And he slices him in the cheek. And then he's like, promise me power. He's like, yes, please, anything. And he slices him in the other one. And then he tries, Six-Fingered Man tries to stab him one more time, and he stabs him hard. And he says, I want my father back, you son of a biscuit. Yeah. So satisfying, so emotionally satisfying. From a movie that if I was stuck on an island and I could only have a couple movies with me, this would be one of the movies. Because I could watch The Princess Bride over and over again until the end of time.
It's good, man. The Princess Bride is slept on hardcore. I remember watching this movie growing up because, you have the beginning scene. I mean, you have a romance, you have an action adventure, you have a fantasy, you have a drama all in one movie. There's everything, there's fantastical creatures, there is love, there's betrayal, there's vengeance, there's It's a great movie, man. Yeah, I was talking to Sydney the other day. I was like, "Have you seen Princess Bride?" She's like, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh, you suck."
Oh my
Yeah, no,
gosh.
huge, big deal.
Sydney, come on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, come on, Andre the Giant,
Dude. Yeah, and Mandy Patinkin as Inigo Montoya. You got
Yeah.
Carrie Elways, Robin Wright. So many good actors. So many iconic actors from the
So many
80s.
good. Yeah, I actually remember the first place I was when I first saw that movie. I was in one of those. I don't even remember what it's called, but it was like a local TV store that like sold complete TV like entertainment setups for your living
like
room.
a home entertainment
And I was-
store.
Yeah, the home entertainment store, and I literally sat there and watched the first 30 minutes and was like, "What is this?" Because I remember when they lower the rope, and he's like climbing up the rope with no
Yeah.
legs, and they're like, "Oh my god!" In the beginning, I was like, "Oh shit, he's gonna make it." But yeah, that was solid movie. Princess Bride. That's a really good. That's a good mention. I guess my honorable mentions for this, real quick, just wrapping it up, was I had The Thing from 1982, John Carpenter's Thing.
Great
We
one.
talked about it a lot of times, but it's super good. Specifically when the guy's chest opens up when they're giving him chest compressions to try to revive him, and they finally go to give one more, and his chest opens up and takes the guy's arms off. Absolute unexpected, because nobody knew he was the alien. That was an amazing scene, especially to do that back then. That was like money. So finally, my last honorable mention would be the original Resident Evil 2002,
Nice.
when they are in the laser, the security system goes off and they're in that hallway thing, and they have to dodge the lasers. Like the entire commandos are in there. There's like, what, 4 or 5 of them?
Yeah.
And basically they all get chopped up except for one, right?
Yep. No, yeah, except for
Which is
no, they all
main character.
everyone who was in there gets chopped up.
Oh, really? They all
Yep.
died?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's almost cheating, because like it looks like a game at first where it's just like dodge the thing,
Yeah.
and then it turns into like the whole like,
Grid.
just impossible to
Yeah,
dodge.
it
grid
like keeps
thing.
adapting. Yeah.
Yeah, like why wouldn't it just do that in the
Yeah,
first
do that.
place? If it really wanted,
If
if it was really an effective security system, why give them even a chance?
Yeah, exactly.
0 to 10, start at 10.
Yeah. That's that 0 to 10.
but,
Start at 10, man.
Yeah, just start at 10. Look, don't even give them a chance. Otherwise, they're just playing games. Don't play with your food. Kill it. But yeah, that's all I got for my list. Any more honorable mentions for you, man? Are you good?
No, man, I think we've dealt out a lot of good death today. I feel very satisfied. I feel like
Have we-
we spread Christmas cheer by celebrating the
Yeah, Christmas cheer for all to hear, just bathe in the blood. That's why red is such a good color on this holiday, folks.
That's right.
Yeah, red for the blood and green for the rotting.
That's right.
That is what it's all about. Well, good. We have our amazing Patreon subscriber shout out, and this one is going to be to a new subscriber. We hope you're having a good time. No real name, but it is Dirty Mike. Love the name,
Dirty
bro.
Mike.
Stay dirty for
Welcome,
life.
Dirty Mike. Stay dirty, my friend.
Yeah, Dirty Mike and the boys. Love it. Thanks for joining us. We're happy to have you here, brother. Hope you're having a good time, and hope to see you on a live stream. So that is our Patreon shout out, and now we have a fan question.
Yes, we do, from Kobe Jaramillo, and I think Kobe has been has asked a question before, but ever since we got the email back up, I've been checking it. People have been sending in questions, so I liked Kobe's little comment. I feel like your content is actually getting better over time. I find myself constantly laughing and enjoying all that y'all are doing. When y'all said my name in the Weapon of Choice episode, I was so happy. So we've mentioned it before.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons I became a patron, along with supporting you guys and the movie night, which I'm so excited for. So we are excited to hang out with you, Kobe. And the question is, what would you guys say is the best main character and the worst main character in pop culture? Like how Forrest Gump is probably one of the best main characters, but the main chick in Twilight is just unbearable.
Super specific there, Cody.
Yeah.
It's like you could pick anything, but you picked Bella
Yeah.
from Twilight, which honestly I have respect for. Not the character, I have respect for the fact that you think she's unbearable.
Yeah.
But let's see. That's a hard question, man.
That's a
'cause
really
there are
hard
so many
question.
people that I absolutely love.
Like of all main, we can pick maybe one from a certain genre or in recent memory. I think, okay, I'm gonna say Ripley from Aliens, but we're not gonna talk about that because I talk about it all the time. But like freaking Senua from the video game Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. She has an amazing journey. She comes from a broken background. She deals with mental illness, and yet she has this great spirit where she perseveres and overcomes. So we get to share in her struggle. So you get to know the inside of her mind and her heart and what motivates her and how hard everything is and how she overcomes. You get to share in that journey throughout the course of the gameplay. I think she's an amazing character. That'll be my choice, not for all of pulp culture, but definitely for top heroines in video games. I'll categorize it that way.
I'll take that. I mean, I've already mentioned Legolas as my personal hero,
man.
but I'm gonna, we've mentioned so much from our favorites, so I'll spare that. Let's see here. I'm looking at a good solid list. Might be a wild card here, but this dude makes me laugh my ass off, so I love him. And this is a little bit different, but it is Michael Scott from The Office.
Hey, what a great character. Yeah.
Michael Scott from The Office makes me piss myself. He is hilarious. He is an imbecile, but he has a huge heart and he means well.
Yep.
He's a perfect definition of fake it until you make it.
Yep.
So, me and my fiance, we rewatch The Office religiously just for if you got to put on something to burn time, we office it up. And yeah, Michael Carrick, honestly, when they got rid of Michael Scott, The Office fell apart. Plus I'm watching the British version right now. Yep. And even though Remy's, Michael Scott is, even though it was the first one, there's no way it compares to the American version. I'm sorry. And that might tickle some booties, but the American Office is way better than the British one.
That's a good choice. That's a solid choice, man, because there's a YouTube video that talks about the development of his character and why he's one of the best characters around. I forget what the title is, but it was basically kind of what you said, where it's like, he is such a douche, but he does have a kind heart at the center. He just is really insecure about it. He just needs to be loved, So good choice, man.
He just wants to have is it good? Michael Scott. What about the worst?
The worst. Oh my gosh, I forgot about the worst.
Yeah, don't forget.
Worst character in pop culture history. I'm thinking of not well written characters, but there's just some or evil characters, or characters that I just don't like. Man, I feel like I've blocked all of these, all the bad characters from pop culture history. One thing that just comes to mind real quick is John Pantoliano's character from The Matrix, Cypher. He's the one that betrays everybody. Obviously, I don't like him because he betrays everybody. He's willing to kill everybody. Yeah. He just kills 2-3 people in a row, and he's about to kill Neo. And the only way that they survive is he doesn't finish off Tank or Dozer, the operator guy. And he gets him back, and he gets zapped with the electrical thing and dies. But that's anybody who betrays. Man, betrays their crew, just so they can get plugged back into the Matrix, Yeah,
what a coward. Yeah. Coward. This one's going to be kind of I don't know. I think it's a good choice, but I'm just going to let it send anyways. Oh, here we go. Easy pick right here. I was excited when this character died. But it is Lori Grimes from The Walking Dead.
The wife?
The wife.
Oh, I remember when she died.
Remember when she died? You were like...
She got eaten whole by a zombie, man. In the prison?
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that, how long had it been since her, couldn't find Rick, and then she just goes around and gets immediately pregnant. You didn't even give it a shot, right? You just, immediately moved on because you're so insecure that you can't, you can't make it without a man. And it's dude, it's just fucking, that I remember just being oh, thank God. Yeah, but I guess that one's kind of harsh, and she's a super weird character. But this one from Harry Potter, you remember the new professor of the dark arts that changed Hogwarts, Dolores Umbridge? She's the one that wears pink,
yes,
that puts all the one of the worst characters ever.
Hater.
Why don't you just be what? Why don't you just punch her? I get it, she's a teacher, but what is she really gonna do?
Yeah.
But yeah, she is so annoying. Oh my God. So that is one of I remember rewatching the Harry Potter movies and just seeing her, and I'd be oh, I could absolutely
She was
not,
cruel,
dude.
man. She has a dark heart, man.
Yeah, she was not a good character. Likable character at all. But cool. What did you already say yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Said
right?
mine, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
good question. Good question, folks. So send us
question,
an email, pcfmpodcast@gmail.com, or send us a DM on our Instagram, PCFM Podcast. Come and check that out. We're back up on the content creation on that side, so we got some good posts for you. So,
Yes, we do.
all right, it is time, Cameron. It's time
The game.
for the game. Yes.
I hear the jingle bells.
That's
It is
you do
time
because
to play.
I am the Santa Claus now, and this game is called Naughty or Nice. I'm going to give you a character name, and you tell me if they were a good guy or a bad guy. It's that easy, folks.
Oh, pretty straightforward.
Pretty
huh?
straightforward,
It's that
man,
easy.
yeah.
Or is it?
Well, here's your warm up, just so you get the taste of the game. Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Oh, it just depends.
Oh, come on.
It really depends.
Don't think about it
He's
too
a-
much.
Yeah, it's a bad guy.
Dang it. Hey, yeah, he does redeem himself.
He does, but yeah. Just think about all the bad he's done. You know.
Yep. Ultimately, next one, Sirius Black from Harry Potter.
Sirius Black was a great man.
Yes, this is true. He was a good guy. You think he's a bad guy because he doesn't get along with the main character, Harry Potter, for most of the series. He had a thing for his mom, but then ultimately, it's revealed that he's a double agent. You know.
Yeah, like they all think he's bad, but he's actually a savior of Harry's. So good.
All right, easy questions are over with, Cameron. Next one,
Oh, good.
Miggs Mayfield from The Mandalorian.
Miggs Mayfield from The Mandalorian. Miggs. I think it depends. Miggs Mayfield.
Do you know who this is?
I think they're the ones that use the Hornets, right? The little Hornet rockets. He's like, don't use these; they're really rare. Is that person? I'm just gonna go ahead and say they are bad. They are naughty.
That guy? That is incorrect. This is the character played by Bill Burr.
Oh, me. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
He's kind of a.
he starts off as a bad guy, but then you find out he's got a good heart and a dark past, and he ends up redeeming himself.
He's just he works for the Empire, but he kind of betrays them, right?
Yeah. He turns
Imperial Army.
exactly.
I gotcha.
Not too bad. You didn't know who it was. That's fine. This one you should know. Colonel Walter Kurtz from Apocalypse Now.
Colonel Walter Kurtz. Colonel Kurtz. He is the bad guy. He is the antagonist that he is trying to kill.
Yep, he is the guy. He goes rogue, and Charlie Sheen or Martin Sheen's got, Martin Sheen's got to go get him. But
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you'll probably get this one. Micah Bell from Red Dead Redemption 2.
Never played Red Dead Redemption. Never played it, but I'm assuming it's the main protagonist. So I'm gonna say good guy.
Cameron, I'm disappointed. I've literally talked about this guy in my honorable mentions. He's bad from the beginning, and he's so satisfying when he dies. It's the last death in the movie when you shoot him in the face. He's a bad guy.
Well, that just shows how much I pay attention.
That's all right.
To what you have to say.
That's what I'm used to. I feel like I'm back at home with my dad.
Okay.
All right.
Didn't mean to bring up those thoughts and feelings.
That's all right. Let's move on so I can forget them again.
Okay, sure.
Next one, Emil Blonsky from The Incredible Hulk.
Emil Blonsky.
Blonsky.
Emil.
Blonsky.
I'm gonna go ahead. I think it's a bad guy.
That's a good guess. He is the bad guy. This is Abomination. It's the guy who turns into Abomination.
Yeah, Abomination.
Yeah.
Right? Is this the original Incredible?
Yeah, the
Hulk?
one with Ed Norton.
Yeah, where it's like the guy has like long hair, right, and he becomes Abomination at the end.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
All right,
that's what I thought.
We run along. You should get this one because I've spoken about him. Jack Cooper from Titanfall 2.
Jack Cooper from Titanfall 2. Yeah, that's the main character, right? And then you have BT, which is he's the pilot. Jack Cooper's the pilot.
That is correct. Jack Cooper is the pilot. He's the main good
thank
guy, the main protagonist from the game. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I pay attention. I just got selective here.
That's all right. I appreciate that you're listening at least part of the time.
Yeah, sometimes. Long episodes, Sometimes I come in, sometimes I take time.
All right, last one. You're doing pretty good. General Francis Hummel from The Rock.
Hummel from The Rock. Is that the Alcatraz movie?
Yep.
I'm going to say he's a bad guy, right? He's a bad guy.
I'm going to give it to you because he is a bad guy-ish. He is the main antagonist of the movie. That's Ed Harris's character. He's the one who steals the chemicals, but he's doing it because of all the veterans who have been never recognized and never given a chance from their government. They've just been swept under. And so he's basically sending a message, but in the end, he's making them pay. He's making them pay. But in the end, he can't bring himself to fire the rockets. So his guys turn against him. They mutiny, and he actually ends up getting killed. But he never actually fires off the rockets. So
interesting character. Yeah, he's kind of like an anti-hero. Huh?
Yeah. Ed Harris does a good job. There's a great scene of Ed Harris like talking to somebody on the phone. I think he's talking to Sean Connery's character, and it's like the behind the scenes where he's like forgetting lines. He's getting super pissed off. But Michael Bay's like, keep going, keep rolling, because he's getting revved up because he's supposed to be revved up emotionally. So he's like, keep going, fight, so it's some good acting by Ed Harris,
This is a weird thought. Nicolas Cage is not in that movie, is he?
Nick Cage is in that movie.
He is in that. Yeah. Okay, thank God I'm thinking of the right movie. He's the main protagonist.
Yeah, Nick Cage and Sean Connery.
Okay.
It's an epic team up of epic proportions.
Perfect. Great. I'm glad I pieced that together in my head. Well, that's it, man.
That's it. That's the game, man. Pretty good, man.
That's the game. Yeah, not bad. Super easy, but very enjoyable. And it fit the theme of this podcast. So thank you for being the game master.
You're welcome, my friend. And Merry Christmas to you, Cameron. Merry Christmas to everybody who listens to our podcast and watches the YouTube and has joined us on our Patreon, folks.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas to you, Israel. And let your families know that we appreciate them even though we don't know them. You guys are our family. We appreciate you. Happy holidays, folks. Cue music.
What's going on, everybody? You just listened to the free version of the PCFM podcast. If you want full-length versions of podcast episodes, plus much more, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/PCFM podcast.
That is right, Israel. If you want access to this full episode, you have to subscribe to the Fuzzy Private tier, which is our cheapest tier on Patreon at $5 a month. But if you are interested in a little bit more, we also have the Salty Sergeant tier at $8 a month and the Lifer tier at $12 a month. So hopefully we will see you there, PCFM family. Cue music.
Check out great deals throughout the store at Safeway. This week at Safeway, get mega packs of USDA Choice boneless beef chuck roast for $3.97 per pound with digital coupon, limit 2 packages. Plus, Hass avocados are 10 for $10 member price. And get Fuji apples for just 77 cents per pound with digital coupon. Also this week at Safeway, get selected varieties of Lucerne milk gallons for the member price of $3.99 each when you buy 2. Visit Safeway.com or head into your local store for more deals.
It's important to properly dispose of unwanted medication or sharps. MedProject offers free and convenient disposal options near you. To learn more, call 844-MED-PROJECT or visit medproject.org.